auction properties. That's right, buying it like the pros. How do pros find such great deals? That's one of the biggest questions that we get all the time. The property that I'm in front of, guess what? We bought it at auction. And you too can learn the 5 steps. These are the key 5 steps that you need to know before you go to auction and buy a property. I'm going to talk about the exact things that it takes and how do you learn those steps. We're going to go inside. Both of us are going to look at the property for the very first time, and then we're going to talk through the step-by-step process of buying like the pros. Let's go on in. Guys, if you can't tell, I am excited and I'm thrilled. Why? Brick house. It's beautiful inside, right? It's 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and guess what? It was bought for $150,000. $375,000 home run deal, $100,000. More importantly, how do you do it? Step number 1 is having the auction property list. So why is this list important? See, this is the list of properties that are kind of 15 days, 20 days from auction. Wouldn't it be great to have a list of properties a little bit ahead of time so that you know what properties are going to come up, so you can do your research, you can do your due diligence, you can do what we do. Why do we have such a leg up on everybody else? Because guess what? We have the secret, and that is 30 days, 45 days ahead of the auction, we produce the list. And you have the chance to get the same list. See guys, it gives you a powerful tool. You can be like the rest, which is find out about the auction a day before, and guess what? Now you have almost no time to get the good deals. But the way you get the good deals is get the list of properties 30 to 45 days ahead before it goes to auction, and we will also provide you the starting bids that we already have available, or most importantly, what is the balance owed? Approximately, what is the bank going to open the bid for? So how do you get that list? Well, it's very simple, and it's 100% free. All you have to do is email info@chicagorea.org. That's info@chicagorea.org. That's number 1. Step number 2, area analysis and property analysis. What do I mean by area analysis? Think about it. A lot of times people say, oh my God, Andrew, I want to find great properties at auctions. Well, if you don't understand area analysis and property analysis, how do you ever expect to find a great deal? See, the first step, and probably the most important step, is knowing area analysis. So where do you start? Well, you can use our A, B, C, and D method. What do I mean by that? A stands for an affluent or an aspirational area. B is for a bread and butter area. C is for area that may have some challenges, may have a little bit of crime, may have a little bit of an economic issue. And D is going to be disastrous. So number 1, my suggestion would be is, guys, please stay out of D areas. Areas that are very economically depressed, right? We as investors, what is our goal? Our goal is to improve our economics, not decrease our economics. Why would you go to an area that economically is challenged? So we always avoid D areas. Number 2, what are the areas that are most profitable? Well, it depends. I'm going to show you what it depends on. It depends on the amount of cash you have available, the amount of experience that you have, and how well do you understand investing in real estate. If you're somebody that is new in real estate and you're just getting started with auctions, make sure you stick to areas that are B, which is bread and butter areas. Areas where the pricing is not quite as high as an aspirational area. Around the Chicagoland area, if I take, say, Oak Brook, that's going to be an aspirational, affluent area. Area right next to it, which is Villa Park or Addison or Lombard, is going to be a B area, which is going to be a more bread and butter area. It really doesn't matter if you're in Naperville or if you're in North Shore or if you're in Schaumburg. We always have an A area, typically surrounded by B areas that are going to be peripheral areas, and then you're going to have C areas that may have some economical challenges. The most profitable deals are most of the times found in B and C areas, not in A areas. Now think about it. You might wonder, but why wouldn't I find the best deals in Naperville or in Schaumburg or in Northbrook or in Elmwood Park? See guys, the reason I had such a big smile when we started the video was because these properties in A areas are extremely tough to find. Why? Because all the sharks, yes, all the pros are going after the properties that are the A's. Everybody wants to make 75 to 80,000 bucks. So if you're new, you should look at profitability of about 35 to 45, 55,000 bucks. That is the most profitable place to be. That's area selection. Know your areas before you start looking on the list. Number two, as a part of that, is going to be property selection. What type of properties are you going to go after? Are you going to go after big properties? Is big always better? Guys, I'm going to caution you. At the auction, big is not more profitable. Hear me really carefully. Big is not better. See, at the auction, what happens is every single day there is another auction. There's another property shows up every single day between all our counties in the Chicagoland area. You realize there are over 150, yes, you heard me correctly, 150 choices you have to bid on properties. Why would you ever buy something that is going to carry a lot of risk? So you never go for properties that are complete disasters, because guess what? The upside is going to be really challenging. You always want to go for medium priced houses. Ideally, properties that are going to be kind of 800 square feet to about that 1,300 square foot factor. Why? Because typically they're going to be easier to fix. Don't look at that big Taj Mahal looking thing, the 3,000 square foot house, and try to go bid on it unless you really are a pro. See, try to always bid on properties that are in B to C areas that are going to take about $40 to $45, maybe $50,000 in rehab. That is the most profitable way to buy properties at auctions. Step number 3, buying at auctions is going to be about rehabbing and condition of the property. You know, more than rehabbing, the condition of the property is more important. Think about it. When you're buying at the auction, you 99% times have never seen the inside of the house. So guess what's going to happen? How the property looks. Is it brick? Is it frame? Is the roof done? Is the driveway done? How's the landscaping? How are the general people that live in the property? What do the neighbors say about that particular property? Are the people living there, or has it been vacant for the last 2 or 3 years? See, these are important factors. And you know, before I forget, one of the most important factors is the property occupied or is it vacant? Well, there are advantages of having an occupied property. Why? Because you know somebody's living there, and hopefully the plumbing is working. Hopefully the pipes are not broken. And I say hopefully because of this reason. You would be amazed to find how many times we have bought a property that is occupied. And guess what? The plumbing hasn't been working. The sewer system is jammed up and people are still living there. There are goods and bads when you're buying a property, but the most important thing to focus on is the condition of the property. And there are small things that you have to look for. Deferred maintenance. Is there an air conditioning unit outside? Is it taken off? What year do you think it is? Is it 10 years old? Is it 20 years old? When we're buying and bidding at auctions, we're bidding based on the general condition of the property because we don't know the rehab yet. When it comes to rehabbing, there are 3 different classes of rehabs. There are properties that you're going to have to tear down and do new construction. That is something we do not bid on. I would suggest to you, if you're not a builder, please do not bid on those properties. Number 2, is the property kind of crooked? If the property is crooked, you know there's a foundation problem. Is the property is the garage looks, if there's a dip in the middle of it. See, those are nuances that you have to learn how to watch for, because that is the general rehab and condition of the property. The most crucial thing is, do you know how to pick the winners, and do you know how to walk away from the losers? That is the biggest difference between a pro and somebody who loses money with auctions. So understanding rehabs is important. What are you going to go after? We always tend to go after properties that are from about 850 square feet to about 1,400 square feet. That is the sweet spot. Why? Because that is the most profitable when you're buying properties at the auction. Step number 4 is title, taxes, and liens. So let's understand how taxes and liens play into this, and then we'll talk about title. So what are taxes? These are your property taxes. We're not talking about your income taxes. These are your property taxes. So we want to make sure, number 1, are the property taxes for the past 2, 3, 4 years that are they paid or are they not paid? The reason why this is important for you and I when we're buying at auctions is because we want to make sure that when we pay a certain price at the auction, there are no outside liens, there are no outside taxes that we're going to have to pay in addition to the buy price that we bought the property for. The additional liens that can exist are maybe a water lien, maybe a village lien because the village cut some grass, they maintained the property outside. There may be some fines against the property. Well, if you have an association, there may be an association lien, and there may be a lien from the attorney that helped the association try to recover their money. It's important to make sure that the taxes are paid and outside liens do not exist. Or if both of them are not paid and either or exist, you just need to adjust the price that you buy the property for. Now let's address the most important issue, and this is the title. So what does the title mean on a property? Well, when you take possession of a property, when you own the property, guess what happens? A piece of paper that says, hey, Mr. Jack owns the property, and this property is free and clear of any encumbrances. Encumbrances is a big word. What that means is there's no mortgages, there's nothing else on the property. Jack owns the property free and clear because that's what he paid at the time of auction. And it is the most critical step, because see, what happens at auction is this. When you buy the property at auction, they don't tell you if you're buying lien number 1, which is mortgage number 1, or if you're buying mortgage number 2, or if you're buying mortgage number 3. Now, what if you bought mortgage number 2? Well, guess what happens? Your lien number 1 or the mortgage number 1 still exists. At auctions, we never buy mortgage number 2 or 3. We always want to go for the first mortgage because that is what gives you free and clear title to the property. And that's why it's important to make sure that you always get a proper title check done. Probably the most important thing in the auction process is, number 1, knowing what auctions are coming up, and number 2, the auction that is coming up, is that free and clear property, or are you buying a property that has liens, that has taxes, that has other issues? If you don't know how to get started or where to get started, remember, the website is chicagorea.org. Show up at one of the Chicago REHAB meetings, or make sure you go to the next 3-day. We go into this topic in much more detail. Number 5 is the final step, which is, do you have the cash? Guys, the auctions, when you go to the county auctions, you need to have the cash at the auction, which is about 10 to 15% depending on the auction. And guess what? You need the rest of the cash within 24 hours. So this is not a game for people who don't have the cash. So auctions at Cook County or any of the counties around Chicagoland area are all cash auctions, and they're all final sales. So that's the 5 steps. But step number 1 always starts with, do you have the list of properties that are coming to the auction? And you need to have the list well in advance, 30 days, 45 days in advance of the property going to auction, so you can kind of do all your due diligence, all the steps, be ready to go. That's what will make you a pro, and that's how you get the best deals. So how do you get more info? How do you get an in-depth look? A detailed step-by-step process that gets into the entire process, which we don't have time right now. Well, you go to chicagorea.org or email us. Email us at info@chicagorea.org. Ask for the free auction list. We'll send that out to you, and make sure you attend the next upcoming REHAB meeting where we go into much more detail and how do you get started today. Or start by attending the next upcoming 3-day. This is Andrew Holmes. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you soon.